Tonight we're on the western side of Costa Rica. We've been given access to a protected stretch of wilderness. We had a big rainstorm that just moved through and there's tons of moisture in the air. You can see all these leaves are absolutely soaking wet, which means that the animals are going to be moving about. We're gonna head down this trail in this direction and spend the next several hours seeing how many animals we can get in front of the camera. There he is. Oh, there's another one. Give me, buddy. Not exactly the easiest to hold on to. But if you thought you were afraid of the little earwigs that we have in the United States, look at that guy. That is about 1.5 inches in length. Now, the name earwig makes you think that these things will crawl inside of your ears. That's an old misnomer that people used to think these creatures would crawl inside of their heads and lay eggs. They absolutely will not do that. There we go. Now we're able to get a pretty decent shot of it. It's got those bright orange legs and those orange spots on top of its thorax. And then you can see on the back of the abdomen there, that's what makes the earwigs so creepy. Those big pinchers. Oh, just like that. Jumped off my hand and back down into the leaf litter. All right, well, if we're looking for creepy creatures tonight, that earwig is definitely a good start. All right, let's give this log a lift here, see if there's anything under it. Oh, it's really saturated. Oh, look at that. Termites and a Vinegaroon. Wow. That is truly an alien-looking creature. Now, what's interesting about the Vinegaroon is that this long little tail-looking appendage right there, if they get really irritated, they can direct 2 sprays of acetic acid that come out of the rear end of their abdomen. Now, these are not capable of biting, they are not capable of stinging, so while they may look absolutely terrifying, these are completely harmless. I've seen a number of different whip scorpions, the ones that don't have the big bulbous abdomen, in these rainforests, but this is actually the first time I've come across a true Vinegaroon here in Costa Rica. There's a little bit more rain coming down now at this point. Wait, hold on a second, might have something here. Oh, might be a frog. Oh, no. It's a helmeted iguana, a little one. Hold on a second, tuck back in there. Oh, yes. Can we borrow you for just a second? Just gonna take you out here onto the main trail for a second. And then I'll put you right back here. Oh, you're gonna make a go for it. Hold on. All right, Mario, coming towards you. Let's see if we can get him to come right up this tree. Okay, gotcha. Okay, look at this. That is a helmeted iguana, also known as a casque-headed lizard. And they get that name because the males specifically, they have a really prominent crest up on top of their head. Can you see that right there? That is all solid bone above the eyes and on the back of the skull. And when they get bigger, that becomes more and more pronounced. Makes them look like little mini dilophosaurs from Jurassic Park. Now, this lizard species is related to the basilisk, and the design is so incredibly similar. They have these really long back legs. You see how long and spindly they are? With those crazy long toes. They're excellent climbers. This is primarily an arboreal species, a wait in ambush sort of predator. What they will do is just hang out on a tree branch and wait for something to come close. Once it does, they're able to gobble it up. And if I turn it just a little bit like that, you can see just how long the tail is. The tail is 2/3 the length of the body. And when they pick up full speed, the front limbs will actually come off the ground and they will run on 2 feet, which is one of the most unique things about these lizards. Now, they're not typically the kind of lizard that's going to flee. They usually rely on their camouflage to keep them hidden, and they're capable of changing the chromatophores in their skin to become lighter or darker based on temperature and time of day. All right, I'm gonna place this little lizard right back on the stem that it was sleeping on, and you can get a good night's sleep. Sound good? Thanks for hanging out with this little guy. All right, back to sleep. It's a scorpion that caught an earwig. Try not to disturb it. See that? That is probably a pretty potent scorpion too, because it has very narrow pinchers and a very long, very sharp stinger. Looks like the same species of earwig we saw earlier, only that is now a very dead earwig. All right, well, that scorpion's caught his meal for the night. Very cool. Okay, so we've got a pretty enormous looking katydid creature back here on this leaf. I'm gonna try to catch it. Wow, that may be a mole katydid. Look at the length of the antenna. That is crazy. That is a truly alien looking creature. And the wings are very, very small, so I'm not thinking this is a katydid species that can actually fly, but those antennae are just going wild, like two big chemical sensing radar detectors up on top of its head. Now, there are hundreds of katydid species in the rainforests in Central and South America, and they come in many different shapes, sizes, and colors. Okay, there we go. Now we can really get a good look at the antenna. That is like 5 times the length of the insect's actual body. Well, we're looking for all kinds of different animals tonight, but we certainly have come across a large collection of creepy crawlies. I'd say this strange alien looking katydid is one of the coolest so far. All right, I'm gonna place it right back up here onto these leaves, and we'll see what else we can find. You got a snake. Oh, this little tiny guy. Hey, buddy. Not a dangerous snake, but they have a tendency to musk. So I have a feeling if I pick it up, this is about to get stinky. Oh, he's tiny. Teeny tiny. Look at that. Yep, definitely musking. That is one stinky little snake right there. Now, I'm gonna let you curl up. As soon as they curl up, they usually get really comfortable and then feel a little bit more secure. There we go. Now, they're called cat-eyed snakes because they have these big, large, bulbous eyes and incredible eyesight at night. And as an ambush predator, this snake really just needs to lay out on a leaf like it was doing right there. It may have been drinking up some water and may have been waiting for a small frog to get close. See that? How it's able to completely balance its body out like that, and they can stay extended out like this in ambush pose, ready to strike for a considerable amount of time. And you can see that prehensile tail going to work right there on my fingers, wrapped around almost as if my finger was a tree branch, which is able to keep the snake completely extended out just like that. Now, this is a very mildly venomous snake. They have rear fangs, and even if it was capable of biting me, that venom would have no effect. But to the prey items that it's after, it's very toxic. So far, we've mostly seen creepy creatures, but I'd say this snake is exceptionally cute. I'm gonna place it right back up on its leaf, and it's going to continue on with its night of hunting. Wow, check that out. That little amphibian is a web-footed salamander. And they're called web-footed salamanders because their toes are completely encapsulated in skin. It almost looks as if this little guy is wearing oven mitts. Now, this is an arboreal species, which means, of course, that it's found up in the trees. And that long tail is prehensile. As they're moving from branch to branch or hanging on to the edges of leaves, they can wrap that tail around to keep themselves in position. They've got incredible eyesight, especially at night. This is a nocturnal species, and what it's doing right now inside of this leaf is just sitting there waiting for a prey item to get close. What you can't see is there's actually a little tiny katydid on the back side of this leaf. All that it's going to take is that katydid coming around on this side, walking down into the leaf, and that salamander is going to gobble it up. Now, this is a lungless salamander species, which means they pretty much absorb all of their oxygen from the air naturally. When it comes to size, this is pretty much full grown, and the older they get, the darker in coloration they become. When they're juveniles, they're actually a real light tan color, but you can see all the marbled speckling that's running up and down the length of the body. A little bit more adorable than the creepy creatures we've come across so far. All right, well, we're gonna leave this guy to continue hunting and see what else we can find. Okay, well, our little Dilophosaurus looking friend is back up on its perch, and he seems about as happy as can be. We came across a wide variety of creatures tonight, most of them creepy, some of them cute, but for me, nothing was cooler than the helmeted iguana. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
And if you're a huge fan of Brave Wilderness, check out our merchandise at shopbravewilderness.com. You'll find everything from t-shirts to hoodies to backpacks and even my authentic Coyote Peterson hat.